Now, for our final trip to the Oxford Canal. As part of the Your Voice, Your Vote campaign, our reporter Clodagh Stenson has travelled the waterways on her own narrowboat.
She started the journey in Banbury and has been gently making her way southwards, hearing about the issues that matter to people she met along the way.
Your Vote, My Boat has taken her from town to country and now to city as the final part of her journey winds into the heart of Oxford.
Bigger bridges and a crowded canal. Oxford's waterways feel like the veins of this city. I begin chatting to Alice, who just arrived in Oxford to visit her girlfriend.
Do you think you'll be voting this time around?
No. I voted in every election, but not this one. NHS, falling apart. They both will do nothing for, trans people. No, tenant rights. My rent went up 50% in a year. Oh, it's all just got continuously worse. I mean, NHS, I often can't get an appointment at my GP surgery. They can book it 6 weeks ahead, and they say they've got nothing.
And do you feel optimistic about the future?
No, not in the slightest. Well, not through other things, not through politicians.
Alice's pessimism about the era she's come of age in isn't shared by Bill, who spots us on the towpath. He's a retiree, having spent his working life on the buses.
We've been lucky that we've had 80 years of relatively freedom, a few wars, but nothing major. I feel privileged to have lived in this era. I haven't made up my mind who to vote for, if I vote, because they're all as bad as one another.
What makes you feel that way?
Because we've seen it in previous elections. They promise the earth to get you to vote for them. Once they're in, half of it's forgotten. I feel sorry for youngsters today trying to get on the housing market. You know, it really is hard now.
Have you got youngsters in your family that you can see?
Well, I won't say they're youngsters anymore, but they're in their 40s, yeah, and they're all in rented accommodation.
The 78 miles of the Oxford Canal ends abruptly in the city centre, in the constituency of Oxford West and Abingdon. It's a seat which has flip-flopped between the Lib Dems and the Conservatives since its inception in the 80s. At the canal's end, I chat with Laurel, a fundraiser on his lunch break.
When I first turned 18, it was the first thing I was like, oh my God, I can vote now, sort of thing. My mum took me to my first polling station and everything. It was just after that, it was more okay, now I need to understand more policy stuff.
When you're picking who to put that X next to, what are the issues that are cropping up in your mind?
Living wages were one, and housing. I've not been able to access affordable housing, so I'm still living with my parents at home. I feel like the living wage thing, if we can maybe make it proportional to actual life.
What kind of change would you like to see over the coming 4 or 5 years?
I think more representation would make me more optimistic, if I'll be honest with you.
Do you feel represented in the political class?
No.
Have you ever thought about throwing your own hat into the political ring?
As a kid, I used to joke about being the first black prime minister, but no, not recently. I feel like it's a game that I wouldn't be good at because I'm too honest, if that makes sense.
Some would say that's probably what politics needs.
Yeah, I reckon so.
Mum Becky's out enjoying the sun with her kids.
I think a big thing for me is health. So the NHS is important to me. My background is medical, so that matters a lot to me.
Got a young family. How important is kind of policies around family life to you?
Yeah, I guess important. I mean, I think, the environment, the climate crisis is something that we can't ignore. And again, thinking about what sort of state we leave the world in for our children is really important. So green, obviously sort of the green credentials of the parties is something that sort of matters to me too. I mean, in terms of policies directly aimed at families, I think nothing's more important than the climate crisis, really.
Whoever's steering Britain's future, turbulent waters lie ahead.
The NHS.
The environment.
Agriculture.
Pensions.
Mental health.
You can turn off the news, change the conversation, but politics impacts us all. It's health, wealth, shelter and water. And shortly, it's over to you. Your voice, your vote.
Farewell from my boat.
Yes, of course, just 1 week to go. And not only has that series of films been fascinating for the people that Claude has met, but it's a great advert for Oxfordshire too.
Yeah, the tourism board are going to be delighted, aren't they? The
Yeah.
canals are fantastic. What a great thing to do.
It looks really good.